Shooting it raw?
Yes. Shooting it raw.
Aha! Okay, so this is more of an illustration.
Yeah.
Sort of, but basically like. Okay, so what it is a photograph, a close-up, very, very like intense close-up of a female eye, and the iris has been replaced with an image of the Earth, of the planet. You can see a bit of Africa, a bit of Australia, a bit of the Pacific. Sorry, is it? No, you see, sorry, not Africa. See South America, and I'm guessing Africa, and then it's the Atlantic, so I'm completely off. But it's a nice composite image, close up of an eye. I mean, I don't know if this is an image that you used for your book, or it's
No.
So why this image? What is it?
To be then short on this one, or maybe start short, when I try to figure out the secret of life and try to write about it, I wanted to in this book write about it without giving away what it would be, so anyone can fill it in for themselves. But for me, it was the realization that the world actually my mirror. So I see this eye sees the world is reflected in the eye, but you could also say, if you turn it around, you take the globe and see yourself reflected in there. So not the countries, but only yourself. And that's an abstract way of putting it. But what I learned for myself is that the world is actually a reflection of me, and that the world doesn't come to me through my senses, but like a bat radiates this kind of noise that they take on by radar. So that's how they navigate. Apparently, and that's quantum physics, my body, my senses resonate something and it's being reflected out there. So I'm able to change that, but what I see is actually saying something about myself. And that's an old, for instance, shamanic principle about dreams. Dreams are explained in that nature by saying the dreams that you dream, you have everything in there: your fears, animals, your loved ones, your children, your parents. Everyone in a dream is a representation of yourself in that role, in a certain different role. So you're taught in that way to, if you want to explain dreams, take it from very personal and explain everything from out of your own position. So it's not a fear that threatens you, but it's something that you think threatens you from out of yourself. And that's a very nice way of looking at dreams, but then also at the world. And what it happens and what it did for me, twofold. It gave me first a sense, okay, if the world is really my reflection, I can change it. And of course, I cannot make that tree go away. I don't master that yet. But I can change a lot of things, how I feel about them. And I think even how I approach, how I can change people by the way I approach them. So I have infinite possibilities, but it also gives me infinite responsibility, because it's all my own. I am the cause of everything, like everyone is, of course, the cause of their own. I am the cause of everything, and it gives me both responsibility and opportunities. And that's, for me, that was a crazy and wonderful and wow moment of realization that this could happen. And it sounds, again, these are words, and I try to describe it in my book in a somewhat different way, that it's more natural to get to that level, and anyone can decide different upon that. But for me, it was a strong confirmation saying, okay, apparently the whole world around me, everything is represented for myself, even if, especially, of course, the things that I don't like. I'm not guilty. I'm not the one that caused everyone to be slaughtered in a certain area or time frame, or the wars that we see now and all the growth of hatred and other things in our world. I didn't cause them personally. We sometimes cause them collectively as humanity. But it reflects something about me. So what am I afraid of, and what does it say about me? And where can I go to a state what do I need to do to go to a state where I'm not afraid of anything anymore, and can look at it with total compassion, but without any sense of implication of fear or unrest or frustration. And wow, that's also for me a magical way of looking at the world. Anything happens that happens in it. And I start with the small things, being radically grateful for everything, even the things that I don't like. So also radically grateful for spiders, but I gracefully look away then. But it's always a work in progress. But for me, that has changed so much. Magic.
Well, that's a big look. In a way, this is the existential challenge of what it is to be human, what it is to be alive, right? And this notion of, when you see something that frightens you or that causes you great emotion, positive or negative,
Yeah.
right? Like something that really turns you on, or clearly what is it? What's actually happening? It's purely a reflection of that stuff that's happening in your skull, right? Like in terms of your brain, in terms of, it's like you're responding, and your response is just a reflection of, what you're getting from the outside world, right? So if you see a spider or you see a snake that terrifies you, maybe that's something that was like sort of like, I don't remember if it was your niece or your sister who's traumatized by elevators, right?
Hmm.
And then you can go back to that time. Oh, that was that little switch. So maybe you saw a movie, or maybe you saw a spider that somebody said something when you were really young, who say, "Listen, spiders will kill you," and you're just like, ah.
Hmm.
So you're living your life. You have this kind of epiphany. You have this realization. You have this kind of like massive intellectual change, and then you decide, okay, I've got this feeling, I've got this realization that I want to share with the world, because you're a very positive human being. So you
Hmm.
decide to tell it in the formula, or in the form of a story in a book. Why don't you take it from here, where I say, like why did you write a book? Like why is the best way for you to communicate that realization in you? Does it need to be done in the shape of a book?
For me, it felt that way, in terms of that I had read so many books, and only very few of them were really so impactful that I take them with me all my life. Certain examples for certain passages, or just the whole thing, that the whole plot of it. That I thought I would love to be able to create something like that, because in a book it's there. So when you open it, you can write it. It's distributable, it's multipliable, so it can go anywhere. So you can
Mm-hmm.
reach a lot of people by that. Like other artists do the same with their work. If you are a photographer, and in this way, of course, in this age, it can be multiplied faster. For me, it was the natural way, because I apparently was able to express myself in a certain way that relates that a lot of people relate to, and a lot of people love to experience. And that was no other choice. And of course, I wasn't that good in photography at all, so it was not any option. It was for me, and it's I would don't I never would like to lose the humor, but sometimes I take it a bit personal, maybe, or seriously. That I really think we need to change our world, because I think we're otherwise on the brink to a large extinction event, where a lot of us, humanity, will, well, disappear, and then we need to rebuild everything again. And what I think is necessary for that is twofold. What I described: a different view on the world, a different view on everyone's self, and how you can, as a person, relate to anyone else and stand in their shoes. If you're in America and you don't like Trump, you vote for the other one. But how can you try to understand the people that vote for Trump? They're also human beings, so they have a rational reason. Try to understand each other, instead of saying the other one is wrong. And the second one is, I think, that's a personal view, that our world has been ruled by masculine energy, by masculine dominance, for at least 5 millennia. So every aspect of our society, rules, religion, politics, economic system, is based on masculine principles that favor the masculine, favor man, and disfavor the feminine principles, the women. What I think we need a drastic change in reset, and getting to a real balance, like yin and yang, with the feminine and the masculine. And we don't get there by saying, oh, we got to have 50-50% women and men in board of directors in companies or in politics, because we're still playing the game by these masculine rules. So we have to reset the system, and something in femininity, in women, needs to be awakened, awakened for that. And I think, and again, it's a personal observation, that women in groups in general are able to depower themselves, whereas it's easier for men to empower themselves as a group. And what I would love to do is get this discussion with women on why this is and how we can change that. And I would love to be able to be part of that change, and to get to a world where We're not a species of mankind, but of kind men or kind women, okay, kindness. And that is one of my deepest felt convictions and missions. And we need to get to this balance because women will save the world. That's why I call it the girl who changed the world. Women need to change and save our world. Men aren't able to because men out of control, dictators, people with too much ego, power, and money are able to disrupt the whole world in favor of themselves and in disfavor of a million others. That's what I think and feel. So there's a strong feeling in me that we need to get to a different way of leading the world, and that's only by a reset of systems. Well, how? That's another question, but okay. What do you think? How do you feel? How do you respond to that? Is that something you can relate to?
I can. Okay, so I've got. I can talk to you for hours. In terms of the masculine versus the feminine, I definitely, as a person who identifies personally as a feminist, yeah, I mean, that makes very good sense to me. Although I don't want, it's also about switches and off switches and on switches. So somebody who's listening, who agrees with us, we're hitting the on switches, right? By saying this, but I don't want to I don't want to hit the off switch on people either. Is there something wrong? Is your mic giving you funny sound?
No, I think you now have sound, but just when I finished talking, we have jet fighters going through the air here. It's just masculine energy.
Okay.
So I had to mute the mic because it's.
No, it's all good. It's all good.
But it's really just when I stopped talking about this, everything was blasting in the air with afterburners. I'm just close to an Air Force base in Holland here, and that's in these days of it's becoming busy.
So no, it's great. I think this is really good stuff. Shooting it raw. Okay. So masculine versus feminine. I think there is over time there's a rebalancing, and over time life is getting better, and over time we correct and adjust, and hopefully make better decisions. Okay. What is the title? Now I'm going to ask you a funny question. What is the title of your book? In Dutch.
Het meisje dat de wereld veranderde.
I will not try to repeat that.
Right. That's that.
Okay. Now, as somebody who wrote, who's basically had a bestseller, give me an example of somebody who read the book. Because in your head you have these ideas, and you have a narrative. You put it down. You kind of go through the process of writing, of editing, publishing, putting it out into the world, and then the real magic happens that somebody picks it up and they read it, and then you move the needle, you impact it on their lives, right? Something happened in their lives that changed. So can you give me an example of how that happened, and of where you inspired a change in somebody else?
I'll give you two small examples. One is a woman in our neighborhood. It was COVID, and I didn't get a publisher. I wasn't able to find a publisher, so I had 2,000 copies printed, and I just distributed in my neighborhood, in my village.
Oh wow!
Just in the mailbox of every person with a small note. So enjoy it. It's like Burning Man spirit gifting. And
You're amazing.
A woman who was really hurt by life, and the whole neighborhood knows that. She came to me and said, "Well, thank you for giving me the book." And I've read it, and only now I understand my childhood. I understand what my parents went through, and now I finally understand my life. That gave me goosebumps. And then a year later, that it was already published, I got an email from an 80-year-old woman. She said, "Well, I was in therapy with a psychiatrist, and at some point he said to me, 'I'm not going to treat you any further unless you're going to read this book.'" And she said, "I didn't want to read your book, but I had to because he would otherwise stop the treatment." And I read your book.
Oh wow!
And at some point, when it got close to the end, I picked up the phone and called my son for the first time in 18 years, because we haven't been in touch in 18 years. And now we're reunited again, and I'm so happy. I see my grandchildren, and now I can die peacefully. That was whoa, yeah.
Oh man, Machiel, wow, that's amazing. That is amazing. That's what else could you want?
Exactly.
From writing a book.
Yeah. Yeah, and exactly. If you touch one heart, you touch many hearts. So it's. I have this, let's say, ambition to reach a lot of people, but indeed, it's just if you reach someone like that, it should be enough. So I know that as well.
Hmm. The girl who changed the world?
Yes.
Yes. Look, it's listen, I mean, I haven't this is okay, so I fell off the horse about 2 months ago, stopped recording, and now I climbed back on and here we are. And this is great. Like thank you so much. This has been really fantastic.
Thank you so much because the format you have and the way you treat it with your energy is so wonderful that this is a real fun to do and also to listen to podcasts. I listened to one of a few of your previous podcasts. Really, it gives a different view, different energy. It's really amazing and wonderful. And I hope that when you got through on thrown off the horse, it also was for you. If you lose your voice or if your voice is hurt, sometimes your voice wants to say something to you, saying, "Okay, well, maybe we need to regroup, or maybe you need to speak out more because the world wants to hear you." And I think the world really wants to hear you, and you're doing a great job by doing that. I have your book here, The 12 Dimensions of a Leader, which you wrote
Aww.
together with Paul Chung. But
Oh, right.
yeah, it's you have a wonderful message to share and to tell to the world. So maybe your voice was saying, "Hey, I'm taking a break here because you're." What I really want you to do is to speak out to the world more about also your ideas, your the way you do that, and I think it's wonderful. You do it by podcast, but I think the world also wants to hear your voice, your views, and together we make this change in the world even greater. And I would love for us all to happen that to happen.
Oh, Machiel, thank you so much, man.
Thank you.
What a nice thing to say. You're great. Thank
You're
you.
great. So thank you for what you do, and thank you for having me on the show.
Tuning it raw?
Yes.